Dr. Amanda Mitchell stood before the gleaming quantum fold drive, her life's work humming with potential. The laboratory's soft blue lighting cast dancing shadows across the device's polished surface as she double-checked the final calculations on her tablet. Behind the reinforced observation window, dozens of the world's top scientists held their breath, waiting for history to be made. "Systems are nominal," her assistant, Thomas Reed, called out from his station. "Quantum field stability at 98%. Amanda allowed herself a small smile. 10 years of research, countless sleepless nights, and 3 failed prototypes had led to this moment. The mathematics were perfect, the engineering flawless. Today, humanity would finally break the light-speed barrier. "Beginning final sequence," she announced, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "Mark 0 in 3, 2, 1. The drive's gentle hum rose to a crescendo, and reality itself seemed to shiver around the test chamber. The small probe they'd attached to the drive began to glow with an impossible light, its edges blurring as space-time bent around it. What nobody in the room knew was that 12 light-years away, in a hidden observation post, 3 different alien species were having simultaneous panic attacks. "They've done it," screamed senior observer Zix Troll, all 4 of their eyes widening in horror. "The humans have achieved quantum folding." "Impossible," Chief Analyst Vex Nu chittered, their crystalline form clouding with anxiety. "Our projections gave them at least another century." Projections didn't account for their excessive collaboration and group pizza nights, the third observer, Colon, muttered darkly. "Did you know they share their research just because they're friends? No profit motive, no territorial advantages. They just help each other." Back on Earth, the test chamber erupted in cheers as the probe successfully rematerialized 10 light minutes away. Amanda found herself lifted off her feet by her celebrating colleagues, their joy infectious and unrestrained. "First round's on me," Thomas shouted over the din, already planning the party. "We're making history. We need to celebrate." In the observation post, the aliens watched the humans' celebration with growing dread. "They're planning a party," Colon reported grimly. "Last time humans had a party near one of our observation posts, 3 junior analysts requested vacation time." Vacation time. The concept didn't even exist in our culture before human monitoring began. "Emergency Protocol Omega," Zix Troll decided, activating the quantum communication array. "The Council must be informed immediately. If humans achieve widespread FTL travel, they'll spread their friendship across the galaxy." Vex Nu finished, shuddering. "Remember what happened to Research Station 7? They started having coffee breaks after monitoring human scientists. Coffee breaks led to casual conversations. Casual conversations led to sharing personal stories. And now the entire station has something called a book club." As the warning signal raced across the stars, Amanda Mitchell and her team were already planning their next steps. The probe had carried something besides scientific equipment, a simple message of peace and an open invitation for communication with any intelligence that found it. To the stars, Amanda raised her glass at the celebration later that night, surrounded by friends and colleagues. "And to whatever friends we might find out there." The team cheered, unaware that their success had just triggered the biggest political crisis the galaxy had seen in 10,000 years. As they celebrated, emergency sessions were being called, defense protocols were being activated, and ancient species were waking from millennia of slumber to face what they considered the greatest threat to galactic stability: humans who want to be friends. The galaxy would never be the same, and the Council's worst nightmare was just beginning. Senior diplomatic agent Jessica Reynolds knew something was wrong when the 3rd alien species in a month suddenly canceled their trade negotiations. She sat in her office at the United Nations Extrasolar Relations Department, staring at the latest message. regretfully withdrawing due to unforeseen cultural incompatibilities. Cultural incompatibilities, my foot, she muttered, taking a sip from her coffee mug. The wall behind her desk was covered with photos of successful first contact events, including one of her teaching a Centaurian ambassador how to make s'mores. Her secure communication device chirped. Agent Reynolds. Director Matthews' voice was tense. My office. Now. 10 minutes later, Jessica found herself looking at classified surveillance footage of various alien species in what appeared to be full-blown panic mode. This was intercepted by our deep space array, Matthews explained, his gray hair disheveled from running his hands through it too many times. Whatever's got them spooked started right after Dr. Mitchell's quantum fold success. But why? Jessica leaned forward, studying the agitated movements of the alien diplomats. The drive works perfectly. We followed all first contact protocols. We even stopped sending pictures of puppies after the Rigelians said it was emotionally overwhelming. That's what you need to find out. Matthews handed her a datapad. We've got a contact. A junior member of the Galactic Council's administrative staff. They're willing to meet, unofficially. The meeting point was a small diner in Wyoming. Of all places, Jessica sat in a corner booth, her order of apple pie untouched as she waited. At precisely 3 a.m., a tall figure in an ill-fitting human business suit walked in. You must be Crux 427, Jessica said, pushing a second slice of pie across the table. The alien's 4 eyes blinked nervously. Please, they whispered, tentatively picking up a fork. Call me Carl. It's my Earth name. I chose it from your Netflix database. All right, Carl. What's got everyone so scared of us suddenly? Carl took a bite of pie and made a sound that Jessica's universal translator couldn't quite process. This is, by the void. What is this sensation? It's called delicious, Jessica smiled. And you're avoiding the question. You don't understand. Carl's voice dropped even lower. The Council isn't afraid of your technology. They're terrified of this. They gestured at the pie. Of how you share things just to make others happy. Of how you turn everything into an excuse for social bonding. Jessica blinked. You're telling me the galaxy's most powerful political entity is afraid of friendship? Do you know what happened when we first started observing Earth? Carl was on their 3rd bite of pie now. Our analysis team watched a human birthday party. Just one. Within a week, they were organizing their own celebration for a colleague's work anniversary. Do you have any idea how dangerous that is? Dangerous. Jessica failed to hide her amusement. The galaxy runs on careful protocol and emotional distance. Carl was getting animated now. But humans? You invite people to your homes. You share meals. You ask about each other's families. The Council had to quarantine an entire research station last month because they started having weekly movie nights. Just then, the diner's door chimed. A young girl burst in, followed by Jessica's ex-husband looking apologetic. Mom. 8-year-old Sophie Reynolds ran to their booth. Dad said you'd be here. Can we have breakfast? Oh, she stopped, staring at Carl. Are you an alien? Do you want to come to my birthday party next week? We're having a bouncy castle. Jessica watched as Carl's professional demeanor crumbled in the face of pure, unrestrained human friendliness. I shouldn't. They looked at the half-eaten pie, then at Sophie's hopeful face. What's a bouncy castle? And just like that, Jessica Reynolds witnessed the exact moment a high-ranking Galactic Council employee was corrupted by human hospitality. She could almost hear distant alarm bells ringing across the stars. Director Matthews is going to love this report, she thought, ordering another round of pie for everyone. Commander Michael Mike Anderson of the Deep Space Research Vessel Stargazer had 3 rules. Always answer distress calls, never leave anyone behind, and movie night is sacred. Even if the universe was ending, Thursday was for movies, popcorn, and the ship's emotional support cat, Lieutenant Whiskers. "Sir," Lieutenant Sarah Martinez called from her station. "We're picking up a distress signal. Looks like. Hold on, that can't be right." Mike leaned forward in his captain's chair. "What are we looking at, Lieutenant?" "It's a Galactic Council research vessel, sir, but they're not supposed to be in this sector. Actually, they're not supposed to be anywhere near Earth space." The bridge crew exchanged glances. After the recent diplomatic freeze, any council ship was big news. Lieutenant Whiskers, sensing the tension, jumped onto the navigation console and started purring. "Well," Mike stood up, straightening his uniform. "Rule number 1. Take us in, but keep our guards up. And someone get Whiskers off the star charts before she sets a course for the Catnip Nebula again." The council ship was adrift, its elegant crystal-like structure dark, except for emergency lighting. The Stargazer's scans showed a complete power system failure. "Their life support has about 6 hours left," Chief Engineer David Chen reported. "Whatever hit them hard." "Right." Mike made his decision. "We're bringing them aboard. And since it's Thursday," he grinned, "looks like movie night's getting some special guests." The council scientists were a stern-looking bunch, all sharp angles and pristine robes. Their leader, senior researcher Vexler, seemed particularly unimpressed by the human rescue party. "We require minimal assistance until our systems can be restored," they announced formally. "We will remain in our assigned quarter." "Actually," Mike cut in, "ship protocol requires all guests to attend community events. And tonight is movie night. We're watching The Princess Bride. It's a classic. We do not participate in." Vexler's voice trailed off as Lieutenant Whiskers wound around their legs, purring. "What is this creature's function?" "That's our ESA, emotional support animal," Sarah explained, fighting back a smile. "She helps with crew morale." "Emotional support?" another scientist asked, already reaching down to pet Whiskers. "You maintain a non-sentient life form solely for emotional benefits." "Among other things," Mike shrugged. "She's also great at picking good movies. Speaking of which, we've got pizza coming up from the galley. Anyone hungry?" 2 hours later, the breakdown of Galactic Council protocol was complete. Vexler, still in their formal robes, was openly cheering as Wesley challenged Vizzini to the battle of wits. 3 junior scientists were sharing a pizza with extra cheese, while another had claimed Lieutenant Whiskers as their new best friend. "As you wish," one of the scientists whispered, testing out the phrase. This is what you call entertainment. Just wait till we get to the rodents of unusual size." David grinned, passing the popcorn. By the time their ship was repaired 3 days later, the damage was done. The council scientists had been exposed to movie nights, game nights, and, most devastatingly, Sarah's famous Sunday brunch. They'd learned about weekends, casual Fridays, and the concept of hanging out. "This is highly irregular," Vexler protested weakly as they prepared to depart. They were wearing a Stargazer crew t-shirt under their formal robe. "The council will need to be informed of the excellent cultural exchange," Mike suggested innocently, "of how we followed all first contact protocols while sharing some of Earth's greatest achievements, like pepperoni pizza and high fives." "Yes, those." Vexler glanced at Lieutenant Whiskers, who had refused to leave their side. "Would it be acceptable if we remained in contact, for scientific purposes only?" Of course, Mike agreed solemnly. "And if you happen to be in the sector next Thursday, well, we're showing The Princess Bride's sequel." "There's a sequel?" 6 different scientists asked simultaneously. Mike winked. Only one way to find out. As the council ship departed, Sarah turned to her commander. "You know, There isn't actually a sequel, right? No, Mike smiled. But they'll be back next Thursday anyway. Nobody can resist movie night. Not even the Galactic Council. In the ship's log, he simply wrote, "Rescued Council vessel. Cultural exchange successful. Lieutenant Whiskers promoted to Chief of Interspecies Relations." The galaxy would never be the same. Dr. Emily Brooks had seen some strange things in her career as a xenoanthropologist, but nothing quite prepared her for this. She stood in what appeared to be an underground alien karaoke bar on Europa, watching a seven-armed crystalline being perform Sweet Home Alabama with surprising accuracy. "How long has this been going on?" she whispered to her research partner, Dr. Marcus Wong, who was trying not to laugh as the alien hit a perfect high note. According to my sources, Marcus checked his notes. This particular establishment opened 3 months ago, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. The evidence had been piling up for weeks. First, there were the pizza delivery drones disappearing into supposedly abandoned alien outposts. Then came reports of mysterious gatherings where multiple species were seen, relaxing. Now this. Ladies, gentlemen, and non-binary entities. The MC, a floating cloud of bioluminescent gas wearing what appeared to be a bow tie, announced. Next up, we have the Hivemind sisters with their rendition of Girls Just Want to Have Fun. Emily watched as 3 synchronized alien forms took the stage. Her scientific mind was already cataloging the cultural implications when she noticed something even more shocking. They were wearing matching Earth-style concert t-shirts. "Marcus," she nudged her colleague. "Are you seeing this?" "Oh, it gets better," he grinned, leading her through a hidden door at the back of the bar. "Wait until you see the book club." The next room was like something out of a surreal dream. Dozens of different species sat in comfortable chairs, many holding Earth-published romance novels. A holographic display showed the current discussion topic, Pride and Prejudice versus Bridget Jones's Diary, a cross-century analysis of human mating rituals. "The romance genre has been particularly infectious," a voice said behind them. Emily turned to find a tall, elegant alien she recognized as a high-ranking council diplomat. "I'm Ambassador Selva, though my book club friends call me Jane." "Jane?" Emily raised an eyebrow. "After Jane Austen, of course." The ambassador's color-shifting skin showed what Emily interpreted as embarrassment. "I find her insights into social dynamics fascinating, though I must admit I'm more of a Bronte fan myself." Before Emily could process this information, another door opened, revealing yet another hidden room. This one contained what appeared to be a fully functional coffee shop, complete with Earth-style pastries, and a live, laugh, love sign written in 7 different alien scripts. "The council would have a collective meltdown if they knew about this," Marcus whispered, though he was already eyeing the croissants. "The council?" Ambassador Jane made a dismissive gesture. "Half of the junior council members are part of our weekend basketball league. We had to ban the use of anti-gravity abilities after last month's championship game got a bit too competitive." Emily's academic training warred with her growing amusement. "This is all technically against council protocols, isn't it?" "Protocols?" A new voice scoffed. A small, previously unnoticed alien emerged from behind a massive romance novel. "Did protocols ever make anyone feel better after a breakup? Did protocols ever offer you a hot chocolate and say, 'Girl, you're too good for them anyway'?" The room erupted in agreeing murmurs and sympathetic tentacle waves. "We're not just breaking protocol," Ambassador Jane said proudly. "We're creating something new, a place where species can just be themselves. No political pressure, no ancient rivalries. Just friends enjoying each other's company and really good coffee." Emily looked around the room again, her trained eye noting the mix of Earth culture and alien adaptations, the way each species had taken human concepts and made them their own. It was beautiful, chaotic, and absolutely against every rule in the galaxy. So, the ambassador handed her a coffee cup with "Live every day" like it's Taco Tuesday written on it. "Will you help us spread the revolution? We're planning a movie night next week." Someone suggested Mean Girls as a documentary about human social structures. Emily took the cup, already mentally composing the most interesting research paper of her career. "Count me in. But maybe we should start them with something simpler." "Too late," Marcus called from the pastry counter. "They've already made fetch happen in 3-star systems." Major James Wildcard Cooper had a reputation for unconventional tactics. Still, even by his standards, loading a military spacecraft with barbecue grills, sports equipment, and board games seemed a bit much. His crew watched in bewilderment as he personally checked the inventory. "Sir," Lieutenant Rebecca Hayes ventured, "are you sure about the cornhole set?" "Trust me, Hayes." James patted the brightly colored beanbags. "These are essential diplomatic tools, along with the football, frisbees, and, most importantly, my secret weapon." He gestured to a sealed container marked classified. Everyone knew it contained his famous 5-alarm chili recipe. Their mission was simple, if unauthorized: navigate through restricted space to reach the renowned architects of Proxima Station, a species so devoted to work that they had evolved beyond the need for sleep. The Council considered them the perfect example of productive society. James considered them in desperate need of a beach day. Approaching Proxima Station, Rebecca announced, "They're hailing us and sending a list of 14 different forms we need to fill out before docking." "Perfect," James grinned. "Send them the party invitation instead." The response was immediate. "Unknown vessel." A stern voice crackled through the comm. "Your weekend barbecue social event form does not exist in our database. Please submit request through proper channels in triplicate." "Actually," James leaned into the comm, "we're having it right now." In fact, he nodded to his crew, who started playing Jimmy Buffett's Margaritaville through the external speakers. "We've already started." There was a long pause. Then, that sound pattern. It produces an unusual effect on our neural pathways. "That's called getting into the groove," James explained. "Wait until you try the electric slide." 6 hours later, Proxima Station was unrecognizable. The once sterile observation deck had been transformed into what James called a casual hangout zone. Architects who had never taken a break in their lives were learning to play frisbee, their multiple arms proving surprisingly adept at the sport. "But what is the productivity goal?" one architect asked, watching a frisbee soar past. "The goal," James explained, flipping a burger on the grill, "is to have fun." Fun. The alien tested the word. "This is an unfamiliar concept. We will need to study it, perhaps create a committee to." "No committees." James handed them a plate. "Just try the chili and tell me what you think." The effect of Earth food on the architects was immediate and dramatic. Their crystal-like forms actually changed color after the first taste, shifting from austere gray to something close to tie-dye. "This sensation," the head architect's voice trembled, "it serves no practical purpose, yet we require more." "That's called craving," Rebecca explained. "Setting up the cornhole boards. Wait until you try s'mores." By the end of the day, the damage was done. The most efficient species in the galaxy had discovered the concept of a coffee break. Someone had taught them to play Sweet Caroline, and the entire station would stop work every few hours to sing the bum 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 part in perfect harmony. Major Cooper, the head architect, approached as the crew prepared to leave. "We have made a decision. We are instituting something called Happy Hour. Additionally, we have calculated that our productivity actually increases by 47% when we take regular chill time." James tried to keep a straight face. That's the spirit. Remember, work hard, play hard. Yes, play. The architect's crystal form sparkled with new energy. We have already designed 17 different sports fields, a water park, and something called a man cave. Would you be willing to review the plans? Send them to the council for approval, James suggested innocently, knowing exactly what would happen. Back on their ship, Rebecca checked her tablet. Sir, I'm picking up transmissions. The architects are spreading the concept of weekend hobbies to other species. They're calling it essential for optimal functioning. James leaned back in his captain's chair, already planning their next diplomatic mission. You know what they say, Lieutenant, all work, and no play makes Jack a dull boy. Who's Jack? Rebecca asked. Exactly. James smiled. The galaxy's about to learn all about taking it easy. Lieutenant Olivia Parker stared at the holographic display of the Council's isolation field with the kind of intensity usually reserved for solving Sunday crossword puzzles. Around her, the engineering lab at Luna Base buzzed with activity as her team analyzed the massive energy barrier now surrounding Earth space. They really don't want us making friends, do they? Her assistant, Jack Thompson, whistled low as new data streamed in. No, Olivia muttered, reaching for her 5th cup of coffee. But they made one critical mistake. What's that? They made it interesting. She grinned, her eyes never leaving the complex energy patterns. Get me the quantum communications array. I need to make a call. 24 hours later, the lab was hosting its first ever interspecies engineering workshop. Despite the Council's best efforts to keep species separated, several alien engineers had accidentally found themselves trapped on the wrong side of the barrier when it activated. The phase variance here is fascinating, commented Skivin, a bioluminescent engineer from the Centauri system. They were pointing at a particular section of the field diagram while munching on a donut. But why did you bring us all together? Because Olivia pulled up another hologram, this one showing the field's core structure. The best way to solve a problem is over coffee and snacks. Welcome to the first meeting of what I'm calling the Friday Fix-It Club. The alien engineers exchanged glances. Friday, fix it. Trust me, Jack started passing out more donuts. Everything's better with alliteration and sugar. What started as a technical analysis session quickly evolved into something the Council had never anticipated, a social engineering club. Olivia had introduced the concept of brainstorming breaks, where engineers would stop working every hour to share snacks and chat about non-work topics. You mean to tell me, one engineer named Maxway asked during such a break, that humans regularly gather after work hours just to socialize? It's called happy hour, Jack explained. Speaking of which, he checked his watch. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, right? The introduction of post-work drinks led to even more revelations. Maxwee discovered they had a hidden talent for mixing cocktails, while Skivin turned out to be an excellent karaoke singer once they loosened up. The field's structural weakness, Olivia announced one evening, her voice competing with the background noise of an impromptu dance party, isn't in its engineering. It's in its assumption that species won't work together just for fun. She pointed to a section of the hologram where the energy patterns formed a complex knot. See this? It's not just a technical problem. It's a social one. The field is powered by isolation, by the idea that different species should stay apart. But we're already together, Skivin noted, their bioluminescence pulsing in time with the music. Exactly, Olivia smiled. And that's how we'll break it. The solution, when it came, was elegantly simple. The team had created not just a technical fix, but a social network. Engineers across the galaxy began sharing technical updates that were really just excuses to talk about their days. The isolation field's power started fluctuating as more and more species chose connection over separation. Lieutenant Parker, a message from the council, appeared one morning. Your engineering sessions are disrupting the natural order of the galaxy. Actually, Olivia replied, watching as Maxway taught a group of junior engineers how to do the Macarena. I think we're creating a better one. Would you like to join our next coffee break? We're discussing quantum mechanics and the perfect chocolate chip cookie recipe. The council's response was a series of error messages, but Olivia wasn't worried. She'd already seen how the cookie would crumble, literally, in the case of their weekly baking experiments. You know what the best part is? Jack asked, as they watched their alien colleagues attempt to learn Earth dance moves. What's that? We're not just breaking down the isolation field. He gestured to the room full of laughing, dancing engineers from across the galaxy. We're breaking down every barrier they ever built. Olivia raised her coffee mug in a toast to the power of coffee breaks and friendship. Around them, the isolation field flickered as another group of engineers, somewhere in the galaxy, decided that maybe, just maybe, taking a break wasn't such a bad idea after all. Captain Daniel Harrison wasn't supposed to be at the annual Galactic Security Conference. In fact, Earth hadn't even been invited. But here he was, standing in the Grand Hall of the Centauri Nexus, armed with nothing but a slow cooker and his grandmother's secret chili recipe. This is either the bravest or dumbest thing we've ever done, his executive officer, Lisa Chen, muttered as they set up their unauthorized refreshment station in the corner of the reception area. Why not both? Daniel winked, lifting the lid to release the aroma of his famous 5-bean chili into the ventilation system. Besides, did you see the food they're serving? Gray nutrient cubes. Gray. The effect was almost immediate. Alien diplomats from across the galaxy began drifting toward their corner, drawn by the unfamiliar but enticing smell. Even the most senior council members were finding excuses to walk past, their sensory organs twitching with curiosity. What is this? Atmosphere modification device. A tall, crystal-like being asked, trying to maintain their dignity while obviously salivating. This. Daniel labeled out a sample. This is called comfort food. And trust me, after sitting through 3 hours of security protocols, you need some comfort. The crystal being took one taste, and their entire form changed color. By the ancient stars, this is criminal. A voice boomed across the hall. High Counselor Vex Major, the most traditional of the council leaders, stormed toward their station. This unauthorized distribution of Earth substances must cease immediately. But it was too late. The crystal being had already gone back for seconds, and word was spreading through the conference. Delegates were abandoning the official sessions in favor of what was quickly becoming an impromptu potluck. You don't understand, a HiveMind representative explained to the increasingly frustrated counselor. We've just discovered something called comfort food. Did you know humans eat not just for sustenance, but for emotional well-being? Emotional well-being is not on the agenda, Vex Major sputtered. Maybe it should be, Daniel suggested, now leading an impromptu karaoke session. Someone had found his emergency party playlist, and Sweet Caroline was echoing through the ancient halls. The situation reached critical mass when the Arcturian defense minister, known for never speaking above a whisper, belted out a perfect rendition of I Will Survive. The entire conference erupted in cheers, and 3 different species declared their independence from council authority on the spot. This is chaos, Vex Major declared. Actually, Lisa corrected, organizing a line dance. This is what we call a party. And look, everyone's getting along better than they have in centuries. She was right. Ancient enemies were sharing recipes. Traditional rivals were teaching each other earth dances. A group of energy beings had discovered the joy of the electric slide, creating a light show that put the station's normal illumination to shame. The council chamber. Vex Major made one last attempt to maintain order. At least respect the sacred food court, someone shouted. It has the perfect layout. The vote was unanimous, even among species that had never voted before. The ancient council chamber, with its tiered seating and natural acoustics, was indeed perfect for a food court. By the end of the day, plans were already being drawn up to install pizza ovens. "You know what the funny thing is," Daniel said to Lisa as they watched the galactic order transform before their eyes. "We didn't even have to try. All we did was be ourselves. And make really good chili," Lisa added. "That too." He grinned as another round of Sweet Caroline started up, this time led by a chorus of former council security officers. Bam, bam, bam. Vex Major, finally admitting defeat, tried a bowl of chili. Their expression changed from resigned to surprised to. Was that a smile? Perhaps, they said slowly, it is time for some changes. That's the spirit. Daniel passed them a karaoke microphone. Now, how do you feel about Journey? Everyone loves Don't Stop Believin'. As the music started again, a message flashed across the conference screens. Regular council sessions temporarily suspended. New activity schedule. Monday, karaoke night. Tuesday, Taco Tuesday. Wednesday, Wing Wednesday. The galaxy would never be the same, and nobody really minded at all. Ambassador Rachel Turner stood in the center of what used to be the Grand Council chamber, supervising the installation of what might be the most important diplomatic tool in human history, a premium coffee machine. A little to the left, she directed the installation team, which consisted of 3 different species working together in perfect harmony. We want everyone to be able to reach it during rush hour. 6 months had passed since the Great Transformation, as everyone was calling it. The former Galactic Council building had been completely renovated into the new Galactic Community Center, and Rachel had been chosen to oversee the transition. Ambassador Turner, a cheerful voice called. It was Carl, formerly Karks 427, now the head of the center's social events committee. The Pet Adoption Center is ready for inspection. Rachel followed him to what had once been the council's most secure meeting room. Now it was filled with comfortable seating areas where various species could meet potential animal companions. Lieutenant Whiskers, the famous cat from the Stargazer, had started quite a trend. "We've had to add a special section for non-carbon-based life forms," Carl explained proudly. "Turns out plasma beings make excellent cat parents. Something about the warm glow." The changes weren't just superficial. Dr. Emily Brooks's research had proven that interspecies friendship and cultural exchange had led to a 300% increase in technological innovation. Apparently, people were more creative when they weren't worried about maintaining proper diplomatic distance. Ambassador Major James Cooper called from the new recreation area. "The basketball court is ready, but we need your input on something." The issue, it turned out, was whether anti-gravity powers should be allowed in pickup games. They eventually decided to create 2 leagues, Classic and 0G. The sign-up sheets for both were already full. As Rachel made her rounds, she passed the library where Dr. Mitchell's quantum fold drive plans were now public knowledge, shared freely among all species. The drive had been improved upon by a collaborative team of human and alien engineers who met regularly for pizza and movie nights. "Oh good, you're here." Lieutenant Olivia Parker waved from her new office. "The center's technology exchange hub. We're about to test the new teleportation system. We fixed the power issues during yesterday's happy hour." The test was a success. Of course, some of the best engineering breakthroughs now happened during social events. The galaxy was learning that relaxed minds were often the most innovative. Rachel's final stop was her favorite, the historical gallery. There, behind a force field that was really more for dramatic effect, hung the original "Earth Must Stay Out" warning plaque. Below it, a holographic display showed the timeline of events that had led to the current era of unprecedented peace and cooperation. Still can't believe we were scared of friendship. Former High Counselor Vex Major, now the center's head of cultural activities, commented, coming to stand beside her. They were wearing an "I Love Earth" t-shirt under their formal robes. Well, you had good reason, Rachel smiled. We are pretty intense about it. Speaking of which, Vex Major checked their phone. Another Earth innovation that had spread rapidly. We're going to be late for the Interspecies Karaoke Championship. I hear Commander Anderson is defending his title. The main hall, once a place of solemn proclamations, was packed with beings from across the galaxy. The air was filled with the smell of various cuisines, the sound of laughter, and the occasional off-key note from the stage. Rachel took it all in. The former enemies now sharing tables and stories, the serious diplomats learning to dance, the ancient species discovering the joy of casual Fridays. This was humanity's real gift to the galaxy. Not their technology or their strength, but their ability to turn strangers into friends and friends into family. You know, she said to no one in particular, I think the council was right to be worried about us. Oh, Carl asked, returning with coffee for everyone. Yeah, she grinned as Commander Anderson took the stage, the entire room already starting to sway. We really did end up taking over the galaxy, one pizza party at a time. And as the opening notes of Don't Stop Believin' filled the hall, Rachel Turner knew that the galaxy wasn't just changed. It was finally, truly united. Not by force or fear, but by the simple, unstoppable power of human friendship. Next week, Carl announced, we're starting Intergalactic Game Night. The cheers could be heard all the way to Earth.